Here with Chris, the Flatliners, day 3 of Riot Fest. Hanging tight. It didn't rain today, knock on wood.
So the whole week we're looking into it, and it was going to say it was raining between noon and 5, and we played at 5. And we're thinking, oh, cool, all right. So, like, no one's going to be there.
Well,
and then it was supposed to just rain at 5, and it didn't at all.
Yeah, and the clouds hung tight to, like, keep temperatures down, which is always really nice.
Most of, if not all of the other outdoor festivals we played this summer already have been, we've played at the, like, height of the heat every day. I think there was in San Bernardino, we played in like 108-degree heat, and it was brutal. It's fun, but I mean, this was way better. So thank you, Riot Fest.
Absolutely. How can you hang tight in that? I was going to say, that's terrible. Yeah. So do you prefer these outdoor festivals or a more intimate club gig?
I like both. I mean, it's such a cop-out answer, but today was so exciting. I mean, I think we're more accustomed to playing the club shows, smaller club shows, but we're really excited whenever we get to play the big festival shows. You know, it's just usually just a few every summer and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's at the club show, it's so intimate and you're so close to people, but at the same time at a festival, it's so exciting to just look out, and if there's a sea of people, you can't really beat that feeling. It's pretty incredible.
So how do you go about choosing your set list for the Riot Fest?
We played a half-hour show, and I mean, at this point we have 5 records and countless like B-sides and stuff that we do play live sometimes, so it's tough. We just try to mix up as much of all of our records as we can. It's impossible to hit every mark, obviously. Can't really please everybody, but you just gotta, you gotta hit as much of your catalog, I think, as you can. Yeah.
And you guys have been together for well over a decade, 15 years or so. Yeah, what do you attribute to your band's longevity?
I mean, we were all friends since we were little kids before we started the band, you know? And I think that's why. I mean, it's when you grow up and you kind of finish high school, let's say, and you start to do your thing, whether it be go to college, university, work a job, or hop in a van, you can not outgrow, but, you kind of grow out of touch with some people, which is too bad. And I'm sure we both have friends from high school days or even before then that we wish we could still have in our lives. But life just kind of moves on sometimes, and it's hard to keep up with everyone. But somehow, us 4 are those friends to each other that have remained, and I think that helps a hell of a lot. Yeah.
Especially if you're in tight quarters. Definitely helps to still like each other after all this time.
I mean, like, I've known Scott, our guitarist, since we were about 4 years old. John, our bass player, and I grew up on the same street. We met when we were 7. And Scott and I met our drummer Paul when we were about 11 or 12 years old, and then we started the band when we were 14. So it's, there's like a lot of history there, and somehow it just makes it easier. Yeah.
So how would you say your sound has evolved from Destroy to Create to last year's Inviting Light from April?
I mean, consistently. Only in this, I don't mean in an arrogant way, but in the sense of we were kids, like I said, 14 when we started the band. When we finally had enough songs to make a full-length album, we were stoked. Oh my God, we finally have enough songs. And then that became our first record, Destroy to Create. We were 16 when we put that record out, So the next record is The Great Awake when we were 18. The next record is Cavalcade when we were 21. The next record is Dead Language when we were 25. These are all formative years, And now Inviting Light, I mean, we're like basically all 30 years old, have been in this band for half our lives. And we've done a lot that we wanted to do in the ska punk rock and roll world as far as music goes, but we always want to try new things because we're music fans in general. So if we can kind of pull from everything that we love and somehow roll it up into a ball and make it something of our own, we're going to do that. And I think that's why we always have this kind of evolving thing. So we've kind of definitely given our fans a bit of a hard time, as far as them, like we probably make it difficult for some people to stick with us maybe because of that, but it makes us happy to you
got to make yourself happy.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some things that inspire your songwriting these days?
I mean, these days it's kind of funny, like it hasn't wavered at all, but I have noticed that I'm a lot happier of a person, and it's harder for me to write lyrics, especially when I'm like stoked and having a good time. I don't know what it is. It's so much easier for me to channel that negative energy if I'm going through something. For Dead Language, I had a big kind of thing happen in my personal life, and that became that record, and that's so many records by so many bands, you know what I mean? And then with Inviting Light, I started to kind of really fall into this happy, joyful, grateful kind of way of life and way of thinking. And I think maybe that's why some of those songs on the new record are like there is a lot more of a mellow vibe to some songs. I don't know. I think you have to ride it like a wave. I mean, when we do our next record, which will be whenever, it depends on how I'm feeling.
Well, I hope things are going well.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever make some like we're not gonna make like a Jackson 5 sounded record or anything. Although that'd be cool. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Concept album idea. You never know.
It just always changes. You know what I mean? And like what we do as musicians and as artists, if I can put it that way, it's a little hoity-toity. We're in a punk band, but you're without maybe knowing, sometimes you're tacking your emotional and I don't know, kind of like social existence and history and all these kind of things to the art you're making. So it really depends on what you're going through, how those songs are going to turn out. So. Yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of which, I think a lot of fans turn to music when times get tough. What music do you turn to when things get tough?
I mean, I really usually go back to like the first bunch of records I really got into. So that would be like the first band I really truthfully ever got into on my own kind of volition was Rancid. I mean, I'm 30 years old, so when Out Come the Wolves came out, I thought that was their first record, and because I was like 7 or 8 years old, I got my mom to take me to the mall in our hometown, and like I bought it on tape the day it came out. And my older brother got me into like punk and everything, and showed me all these bands, but Rancid was the first one I latched onto, so they're always a go-to. And then from Rancid I obviously went backwards in their catalog, and then I like learned about the Clash, the Ramones, like the Sex Pistols, all like the Dead Kennedys, like all the first wave of late 70s, early 80s punk in all forms. I go back to that stuff a lot. I think, and like even more so outside of punk, like I go into like stuff my parents really always listened to when I was a kid. So like ELO, my mom loves like Electric Light Orchestra and the Beatles. So I heard that a lot when I was a kid. And my dad really loves Earth, Wind and Fire. And I mean, he's like a big like Nat King Cole guy. So those just gives remind me of my childhood. It's a comforting thing.
An eclectic mix, just like here.
Totally. That's what I mean.
Just like here at Riot Fest. So what's up next for you guys after Riot Fest?
We're going to Europe for a month, and then we're home. with Prawn from New Jersey, who are great. Not Scientists from France, and Shit Present. Can I swear?
Totally.
Nice. Shit Present from the UK. It's going to be great. We're there for a month, Europe and the UK, and then we do the fest in Gainesville, and then we're playing a couple shows with the Descendants in the States at the end of the year.
Stay tuned for much more from the Flatliners. This is Jackie. Thanks to Chorus FM and In the Key of Change.